Not much to say here, viewers, because Maze of Galious never made it to these here shores. But it was still produced and released by Konami in 1987. This is actually a sequel to a game called Demon Castle Legend, if I do remember my lore correctly. Also known as Nightmare, I believe. Nightmare 2, Maze of Galious, if I recall. It's the first game, the first game, Nightmare, we'll just call it that because that's easier, is an overhead vertical scrolling shooter, much like Gunsmoke that we looked at yesterday. Maze of Galious is a side view, flick screen platforming game. Starring in Maze of Galious are Popolone and Aphrodite, who have entered the castle of the evil priest Galious to free their yet-to-be-born son, Pampus, from the priest's evil clutches. We are able to control both Popolone and Aphrodite, which essentially gives us 2 lives, and the characters are a little bit different, but the game stays more or less the same no matter who the active hero is. Maze of Galious offers extra bits and bonuses if the Game Master, Nightmare, or Qbert are inserted into the second cartridge slot available on some of the MSX machines. See, this was an MSX game that was ported over to the Famicom and then translated for the NES. For those of you who have seen my La Mulana Let's Play, La Mulana is an homage to the MSX games and specifically to Maze of Galious, and it borrows many elements from the game. It also contains a bonus area designed to look like a Maze of Galious level, in which the MSX cartridge of the original game can be found as an in-game item. Oh, there you go. So Maze of Galious is kind of, I don't like to use the term Metroidvania, but it's a Metroidvania style game. You have a fairly large open world, which you are pretty much at your leisure to go and explore. However, you cannot access every area until other items are picked up or things completed or this or that. The game is very long for being from 1987 and a console game, and the game is quite difficult. Having 2 characters is actually very handy and almost necessary in some situations. Popolone, our blue-clad hero, cannot modulate his jumps and is a little bit stronger than Aphrodite and can use some of the weapons that she cannot. Aphrodite can modulate her jumps. I believe she can also swim, but is not as strong as Popolone. The story's kind of weird. Popolone, if I remember right, being the hero of Nightmare, rescues Aphrodite and sends Galious to the underworld, where he somehow comes across the soul of Pampus, the yet-to-be-born son, and holds him hostage, I guess, so he is unable to be born. And thus, Popolone and Aphrodite head off to take care of business. This game is very, very difficult. Part of what makes it difficult is having no idea where you're going. That's just a given for games of this generation. There's not much you can really do about it. But, you do what you can. It's a lot of fun. I really need to get around to Let's playing it and getting through the game one of these days, because I think it's an important game, even though it wasn't really big here in the States since we never got it. But it kind of set the standard for a genre, I guess you could say. This wasn't the first of its kind, but it was a very popular game. You said La Mulana came out because games like this existed, specifically this game. If you compare menu screens of the MSX version and the PC version of Maze of Galious to La Mulana, they're very, very similar. At least the original La Mulana version, not the new one, which I'm still on the fence about. It's a lot of fun, and if you're into this kind of game, you know, Goonies 2-ish, Metroid, you know, games that are kind of open world but not really, this one is worth a try. It's tough.